Hey y'all, back out in the garage. We're finishing up our messing around with this tank extension here. The one that came with the cart was just all one it was made out of, like paper thin tin. It was all bent up and wrangled up. The hole in it was huge, and we want to paint this thing, so we can't really get to the working on the paint for the tanks and body work in the tanks and all that stuff till we get this thing squared away. So we're just it's just sitting on there right now. As you can see, this is the template from the full-size tank. It turned out just like it's supposed to, and it's the same as the other side. I'm not happy with the distance between, because the tire isn't right here. It's actually back here some more. Oops, sorry about that. There's quite a big gap here, but there's also the same large gap on the full tank side. So you're better to make it, everything must have balance, right? It's got to be balanced. So, yeah, we're out here, got the winter hat on. You see it's 40 degrees there. Down on the floor, my big toes are both numb. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the medicine I'm on or something. It was like 36 or something when I come out here. It's cold. You can see your breath. So we're going to get to take the 2 bottles. We took the bottles down. Going to run around the block to the 7-Eleven and swap them out for full ones. And that way, although we're going to see almost 60 degrees later on in the week, I think we had a little snow last night, and there's a flake falling every now and again right now. But let me stick you right in there. And you can see what we got going. Those tabs welded to the fuel tank. This one's still got threads in it. The other two are stripped out. So why didn't I pop the holes in? Well, because I think what we're going to do is end up using a threaded insert here, otherwise known as a rivet nut. So we'll end up boring these holes out bigger. So we don't need to use a wrench on the back side and put a nut on it. You know what I'm saying? We can just put them on with a button head bolt and a little washer or something from the outside. Had to get a little creative. Had to like carve a nice little line in the weld there. We didn't get into the weld of the tank. Just in this bit here, if it leaks, we'll take it to Richie and probably just cut this thing right in half and just remove that whole corner and then have it welded back up. But I think it'll be all right. Had to make sure these were all the little protrusion of weld was gone. Had to kind of fit the bottom a little bit, as you can see right there, around the weld on the bottom, and that extra piece of aluminum welded on there to put the plugs in and the fittings in for the tank. Yeah, other than that, it worked out real well. We used a piece of round stock. Not sure what I did with it. It should be here somewhere. We clamped it down to the bench here with our C-clamps. Clamped the round set with aluminum first, then the round stock. We marked the inside of it, as you see there with the magic marker line. Before we bent this bit, I bent the bottom first, got that edge, that leading edge that's going to meet the tank, lined up first, right? So this was still straight up and down, and then kind of marked where it started to radius, where it started to turn on the tank itself, and just transferred that mark over to here, and then made sure that where we clamped when we put this down and we clamped the tube on the edge of the bench here, and we rolled this thing around. Where is it? Here it is. It's I think it's like 1/2 inch or something, 7/16 tubing. It's a little tighter than the tank, not much. It's a little bit, but it lines up pretty good. We just had to go a little over the line, right? Because we wanted this part we wanted to remain flat. We wanted the bend to start, the radius to start after that. So we just basically, if the line were this line here, and we wanted this to remain flat and not to start bend, we just, instead of putting it here, we just moved it up some more to center of the tube, right? And then clamped it down and just rolled it right up with our hands. Nothing to it. And it turned out really nice. So Once we get the riv nuts and stuff in place, we'll get this thing mounted up and bolted on. So it's stiff, sturdy, and in place. We'll get the mounts back on, the rubber mounts back in, and get the other mount back on, or get the tank back in place, right where it's going to go. And then we'll take the motor mount and the motor and sit it down, and that's how we'll transfer the end of the crank, project it to the inside of this here, so we know where the starter nut hole needs to go, and then we'll make it a little slot. Got to do all that before we start doing any paint or clear. We don't want to paint it, clear coat it, and then start carving on it. It'll just ruin everything. So yeah, we kind of at this point I'm gonna leave it for now and move on to the getting this all the tins out, get the kick in that squared away. We'll go ahead and we did some measuring yesterday from the outside of this point here to the nut bar, and same thing from here to here. And what we found is this dimension, I mean, you look at it, that gap in there obviously is bigger on the right than it is on the left. Well, it's bigger by exactly an inch. So if we move the nut bar over a half an inch, bada boom, bada bing, we're taking a half an inch, we're giving a half an inch, everything should be good. Maybe even 3/4. We'll just have to see how it goes, and then we can still, once we get that all in place, we'll tack it. I'll be able to lay down in here, make sure it's okay. We'll go ahead and zap that together. We'll strip everything off. Everything comes out. We got to put pan tabs on the bottom here. The cart was 1981, 82, 83 cart, 82, 83, something like that. They weren't designed with floor trays. They weren't even using nose cones with this particular cart. Eventually they did, but what guys did is what we're doing here, which I don't want to do, is drill holes in your floor tray and wrap zip ties around it, where I'd rather just put pan tabs on and use small hardware. So we'll make up our own pan tabs and weld probably just six down each rail, maybe one each on the back of here. That'll help us locate the cart and the trailer, and that'll be it. We'll be able to scrape it all up, scrape it down. We'll re-weld some of these butchered looking welds. We're going to do our metal finishing. We got that spot underneath here where the tube is a little dented that we'll fill with weld and metal finish that in as well. We'll get the rest of this stuff, all this paint off and cleaned up. We'll take a look at all the welds, see what it looks like. And then we're going to go with, I'm either going to go with orange on the chassis, or I'm going to go with the midnight blue pearl, like the truck, in clear coat. Either way, it's going to get clear. And then from that point, we'll be able to start throwing it back together. We're going to make templates for new tins. Would really like the bottom and the sides to be one piece. All of this, I mean, we could have a relief cut here and here, but would like this, and this all to be one piece. So it's like a tub, a tray, and there's no chance of it buckling and bowing like it's doing now. I guess with a fiberglass seat, you just feel a little more comfortable that your ass is not going to make it to the pavement, simply because it's a proper seat. Where it's been a long time since I run one of these, but I think I did it the same way back with our old Hartman. We made that middle and sides all one piece, so it wouldn't bow. And that was it. So we'll get this thing all little bit at a time. I got to get a little heat going in here. My feet are freezing. The puddle's not frozen, so it's not below zero, but it's cold enough. It's cold enough when you're on medication. You're old, like old Puff Daddy here. That's what happens. Nephew Jimmy down in San Antonio, if you're looking in, good to hear from you, brother. We're hoping our nephew Jimmy moves up here with us, and maybe he'll be able to go to the racetrack with us and stuff. He wants to move out of Texas, and we'd love to have him up here. He's never lived up in Michigan, so Jimmy, we'll do whatever we got to do to help you. There's all kinds of work up here, so you'll be able to find something without a problem. To the rest of the folks out there, God bless, Godspeed. We're praying for you. I mean that. Keep your chin up. I know things look a little sketchy right now, but it's all going to shake out. And I think we're going to be fine. So that's it for now. I'm going to run off, get us some propane, get us some heat for tomorrow and the next following days, and start tearing this thing up. All right. God bless. We'll talk to y'all later.